Hi, hello there. Welcome to the first ever episode of TAHMIDREADS, and this is your host, Tahmid. And I'm super excited to launch this series. I have my notes and books right here, and the first book we'll be looking at is Malcolm Gladwell's bestseller, Outliers. And this is a little bit different from those summary book reviews on YouTube because I'll be going chapter by chapter. So every week will be a different chapter every 2 weeks, depending on what's happening. So I hope you'll come join me every week as I go over a different chapter. For this week, I'll be covering from the Outliers, the introductory chapter called Rosetto, the Rosetto Mystery. So the authors start off here with defining what's an outlier, and it's in the book title. So what is it? It's something that is situated away from or classed differently from a main or related body. 2, it's a statistical observation that is markedly different in value from the other of the sample. Now this chapter is a great suspenseful hook, and as the name suggests, it's supposed to be a mystery, a sort of story the author is building up, and it's in sorts a story of migration about Italians who moved to the United States seeking opportunities, and to be specific, they moved to Pennsylvania and settled there in the 1800s, leaving behind their little idyllic village on the foothills of southern Italy. And they came together, formed a small township, formed very close-knit community with civic organizations. In fact, there were dozens of civic organizations for a small town of just 2,000 people. So the story here, the Rosetto Mystery, really takes interest in the 1950s when this small town of migrants comes to the attention of a physician named Dr. Wolf, who is astonished by the absurdly low rates of heart attack and other health complications, cardiovascular illnesses in the community. It seems that people here, they actually die of old age and natural causes. And here I read an excerpt from the book. The results were astonishing in Rosetto. Virtually no one under 55 had died of a heart attack or showed any signs of heart disease. For men over 65, the death rate from heart disease in Rosetto was roughly half that of the United States as a whole. The death rate from all causes in Rosetto, in fact, was 30 to 35% lower than expected. So some colleagues of Dr. Wolf in the medical community and also some academics from the sociology community, they come together and they try to crack this mystery, what's happening, how are these people living so long? And they ask some questions, is it their genes? Is it their diet? Is it a lot of physical activity? Or is it just something about the location of Rosetto that explains their great health about Rosetto and the people being an anomaly? And it turns out, surprise, is that it's really not perhaps any of these things, but it's just the culture and the social fabric of Rosetto and its people that explains the great health. Turns out to be the social bond and relationships in the community, where when the researchers go there, they can literally feel the love and a sense of community and bonding that is different from other parts of the United States that they have studied. And I share another excerpt here. What Wolf began to realize was that the secret of Rosetto wasn't diet or exercise or genes or location. It had to be Rosetto itself. As Byrne and Wolf walked around the town, they figured out why. They looked at how the Rosettans visited one another, stopping to chat in Italian on the street, say, or cooking for one another in their backyards. They learned about the extended family clans that underlay the town's social structure. They saw how many homes had 3 generations living under one roof, and how much respect grandparents commanded. They went to a mass, Our Lady of Mount Carmel, and saw the unifying and calming effect of the church. They counted 22 separate civic organizations in a town of just under 2,000 people. They picked up on the particularly egalitarian ethos of the community, which discouraged the wealthy from flaunting their success and helped the unsuccessful obscure their failures. in transplanting the Paesani culture of southern Italy to the hills of eastern Pennsylvania, the Rosettans had created a powerful, protective social structure capable of insulating them from the pressures of the modern world. The Rosettans were healthy because where they were from, because of the world they had created for themselves in their tiny little town in the hills. So in many ways, it was a sort of social utopia that led to these great health outcomes for them. This might seem a little too obvious for us today with all the talk about social determinants of health, community capital, social capital, if you will. But remember, all these theories don't always translate into practice like it did for the case of Rosetto. Even with all the aids we have today, such as our technology, apps that help you work out from home and whatnot, we still struggle with our collective and individual health. Yet here you have the small town of Rosetto really producing miracles and miraculous results a long time ago that we ought to think about. So yeah, that being said, I'm super excited to read the second chapter. So come join me next week or the week after. We'll see as I analyze the second chapter of the book.